Yo, 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 yo. Hey, that's what's up, man. Black African power defeats disorganized truth. Nah. ChatGPT, y'all, can make mistakes. What it do, though? Go ahead and refute Brother Aunt with his nonsense that he wants to promote. The pseudo. Hey, you already know what it is, man. All right. Let's go into this. Let's do it. We got this, y'all. We're gonna get into this. All right, so Ankh wants to sit there and play games with ChatGPT, pretending that nobody knows how to use ChatGPT, that somehow he has some superior knowledge of uploading files and producing pseudo fucking results because he doesn't even know how to use ChatGPT to get the something that he wants. But I got something for Brother Ankh, right? I'm going to show this guy how to use ChatGPT, Gemini, and get the real results, not the bullshit results that he got, all right? So as you can clearly see, it says, you are correct, and I apologize for the previous oversight. Now, why would it be apologizing, you might be asking yourself? Like, why would Gemini apologize? Why would Gemini have to apologize to me? Who am I? Why would it have to apologize for? What would it be saying that it needs to apologize? Right? That doesn't make any sense, right? You need these AI tools because you're too lazy to read these articles, right? You don't want to put in that work like some of us put into it, because this is what we're actually interested in. So let's go ahead and get into this. So I asked a simple question: is Morocco SKH Middle Neolithic highly Levantine? No, Morocco SKH Middle Neolithic Sakrat Razi is not highly Levantine. Rather, it is considered the primary genetic proxy for early Neolithic Northwest Africans, early Maghrebi Neolithic. Genetic studies of this early Neolithic sample from Morocco show dominant local ancestry. It is predominantly carries an ancestral North African lineage that evolved with minimal outside influence for millennia. Contrast with Levantine-like samples, unlike later Neolithic groups in the region, such as the Morocco Late Neolithic or Morocco Keb. Morocco SKH Middle Neolithic shows very little to no significant admixture from Neolithic Levantines. Ancestral links. It is most closely related to early Mesolithic Tafralot, Ibero-Mauritian population, though it exhibits distinct genetic shifts characteristic of the local transition to the Neolithic. While later North African populations received substantial gene flow from the Levant during the Neolithic and subsequent migrations. Morocco SKHMN represents an earlier, more indigenous North African genetic profile. Right, so I'm like, wait a minute. That's wrong, right? This is wrong. And I gave it the source. This is Samans E.G. et al. 2023. During the Middle Neolithic, a new ancestry from the Levant appears in the Maghreb, coinciding with the arrival of pastoralism in the region. And all three ancestries blend together during the late Neolithic. All individuals from SKH show large proportions of a genetic component maximized in individuals from Neolithic and Chalcolithic Levant, Ptolemaic, Egypt, and modern-day Near Eastern populations. The ancestry is SKH can be modeled as a two-way admixture between Levant Neolithic populations, roughly 76.4 plus or minus 4%, and local Northwestern African represented by TAF, 23.6 plus or minus 4%. Because the Neolithic Levantine ancestry has not been observed on the European side of the Mediterranean during the Neolithic, it probably represents an independent expansion of people from the Levant into North Africa. migrations from the Levant to Eastern Africa have been identified for Neolithic pastoralists, individuals around 4,000 years ago, who are presumed descendants of unsampled northeastern African populations associated with the spread of Saharan pastoralism. Both in SKH and Eastern African Neolithic pastoralists, Levantine ancestry is admixed with local ancestries. The arrival of this Levantine ancestry coincides with the appearance of a new ceramic tradition in northern Morocco, often characterized by cord-impressed motifs, roulette or wavy line, like the grave goods at Shakarat, belonging to Ashtakar War pottery. In parallel, cattle pastoralism was expanding in the current Sahara territory, and Afro-Asiatic language groups spread throughout the whole of North Africa. All right, this is from Laura Vele Valise, et al., 2024. Unlike this first migration during the Middle Neolithic, people migrated from the Levant, admixed with local populations from North Africa, and introduced a new ancestry. A what, y'all? A new ancestry. No, an old ancestry. A new ancestry resulting in a heterogeneous landscape by the late Neolithic. Going into Moritz Jacobs et al. 2025, right? But there's also Lipson et al. 2025 that was published before this paper. I can go ahead and read that afterwards, but I'm going to go ahead and knock out the Gemini and ChatGPT just to show Ankh doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. However, because the genomes from Middle Neolithic Morocco have previously been modeled to compress both Ibero-Mauritian-like and Levantine Neolithic ancestry components, which were corroborated, the affinity to Levantine Neolithic groups could reflect several migration events. How many migration events? Several migration events. But where did they come from? Are they North Africans? The affinity to Levantine Neolithic groups could reflect several migration events. No, just one migration event. Several migration events. I don't know. It's pretty obvious to me what they're saying, that those people from the Levant, from the Near East, from West Asia, that was migrating into North Africa. Why is that a conspiracy? I don't know. I don't know why this is a conspiracy for. Notably, the best model for the Neurorat genome fits worse when these groups are included as a reference group. P equals 0.021. This means that we cannot exclude the possibility that Neolithic Mesopotamia-like ancestry in the Neurorat genome could have arrived by means of more recent unsampled intermediaries in the Levant. In the what, y'all? In the Levant. In North Africa. In the Levant. No, in West Asia. In the Levant. Yeah, the fucking Levant. It says the Levant. I don't know why we're playing games like it don't say the Levant. It says in the Levant. Nevertheless, we found that the Neurorat genome fits as an equally good source as Levant chalcolithic groups for the West Eurasian-related component of East African pastoralist genomes, but ancient DNA data are still missing for many putative source regions. Exactly what I've said before. The Neolithic Badran culture of Egypt, that's missing. We don't have those samples. We don't have those Northeast African samples. And if you get those samples might be better of usage than it is a Middle Neolithic Morocco. Why would you want to use a Middle Neolithic Morocco sample when you have a Neolithic Badran sample in Egypt, right? Makes sense. All right, let's see what it says. Middle Neolithic individuals from Sagarat Urazit SKH site in Morocco shows substantial, approximately 76% ancestry derived from the Levant. From where, y'all? From the Levant. No, from North Africa. From the Levant. Oh, yeah? From the Levant. It says from the Levant, indicating a significant migration event during this period. Simons et al. 2023, Valise et al. 2024. This influence, which coincides with the arrival of pastoralism and new ceramic traditions in the Maghreb, it distinguishes the Middle Neolithic population from their earlier locally derived early Neolithic groups. Simons et al. 2023. You can find the full analysis and studies by Simon et al. 2023, Valise et al. 2024, and you can also do Lipson et al. 2025, Jacobs et al. 2025. So let me ask it again. Is Morocco SKHMN highly Levantine? You are correct. Whoa. I am correct. So AI is telling biblical DNA. He's correct. Oh, so I thought I was wrong. No. I thought I was calling out Ank's bullshit for misusing fucking ChatGPT for no reason. Oh, so I was correct. Okay, you are correct. And I apologize. Yo, this ain't the first time I made AI apologize. I made AI Grok apologize to me. So this ain't the first time. And ChatGPT. And I apologize for the previous oversight. While early Neolithic samples from Morocco, like I am, which is Ibero-Mauritian, represent local forager continuity. The Middle Neolithic samples from the site of Sekrat Razi, Morocco, SKH, Middle Neolithic, do indeed represent a massive genetic shift. Based on the Simons et al. 2023 and Lipson, there we go, Lipson et al. 25 studies, here is the corrected profile for Morocco SKH-MN. Significant Levantine ancestry. Individuals from Sakrat Razi SKH can be modeled as having roughly 50 to 76% ancestry from Levantine Neolithic / Chalcolithic populations. Two-way admixture. This population is a blend between local Ibero-Mauritian-like Tafralot ancestry and the incoming Levantine-related migrants. Levantine-related migrants. Does it say North African migrants? No, it says Levantine-related migrants. Arrival of pastoralism. This genetic change around 6,400 years before present coincides with the arrival of pastoralism and new ceramic tradition. Ashkar, Wari, and Maghreb contrast with early Neolithic, unlike the early Neolithic individuals who were mostly indigenous Maghrebi foragers. SKH-MN represents the first major wave of Eastern ancestry into the region. The Sakrat Razi samples are a critical bridge in understanding how the North African genetic landscape become heterogeneous before the further arrival of Iberian-related ancestry in the late Neolithic. All right, so ChatGPT. Can ChatGPT make mistakes? So those studies that I previously highlighted, the Simons 2023, the Valise 2024, Lipson 2025, Moritz Jacobs 2025. Those are the articles that I have uploaded to ChatGPT. Let's see what ChatGPT says. I asked it the same thing I asked Gemini. And you see, Gemini gave me some pushback and I had to correct it. No problem. That's what I do. That's what I do. You know what I'm saying? Is Morocco SKH-MN highly Levantine? Short answer. Oh, wait a minute now. Short answer, yes. So I got the wrong answer. He thought I was tripping. So how come my ChatGPT says one thing and his ChatGPT says another thing? It's because I actually cited the sources. I actually attached the sources, not just the Moritz et al. 2020 Moritz Jacobs et al. 2025. I cited the original source, the Samoas 2023. and the further study by Lipson 2025, because you need the Lipson 2025 for that Samoa's 2023, because there was more research done on Morocco SKH Middle Neolithic. Oh, but doesn't know anything about that. All right, so short answer, yes. Morocco SKH MN Shakarat Rasi Middle Neolithic is highly Levantine related by autosomal ancestry. I wonder if this is what biblical DNA told Brother Ankh. I think so, right? You know, I think that's exactly what I told him. What the genetics show? Genome-wide modeling QP Atom / F statistics consistently finds that SKH-MN derives a large majority. What did that say? Derives a large majority of its ancestry from Levantine-related Neolithic groups. No way. I thought it was Africans. It's saying Levantine-related Neolithic groups, but that can't be. I thought they were Africans. With the remainder find from local Maghrebi ancestry. Bada bing, bada boom, y'all. Bada bing, bada boom. Reported point estimates across accepted models place the Levantine-related component at roughly around 70 to 80%. Wait a minute now, because Ox said that 20%, 30% don't mean shit. That's not majority of your DNA. So according to this, his Levantine DNA was around 70 to 80%, and his Ibero-Mauritian, his indigenous DNA, was only around 20 to 30%. So according to Ankh, that ain't shit. And Ankh, if you say otherwise, I got the clip for your behind. Don't claim that you didn't say that only 20% of that Mesopotamia Neolithic component wasn't nothing. I got the clip when you said that, buddy. Often cited around 75 to 80% or 78%, which with uncertainty margins, making it one of the strongest Levantine signals observed in the Maghreb Neolithic. So the sample that they use for NORAD has the strongest Levantine signals observed in the Maghreb Neolithic. Ain't that some PCA positions? SKH, MN, intermediate between Maghrebi and Levantine clusters, but clearly shifted toward the Levant compared to earlier Moroccan groups, e.g. Ibero-Mauritian, IM, indicating a substantial migration pulse. I don't know. The last time I checked, when people have to go from one location to another, it's called a migration, right? So these people were, let's say not indigenous to North Africa. They had to come from the Levant to get to freaking North Africa, rather than minor diffusion. Oh man, context. Earlier Moroccan Neolithic groups show either strong local continuity, IM, or European farmer input, KTG. SKH, MN is different. Is what, y'all? Is different. No, it's similar. Is different. No, it's the same as Ibero-Mauritian. Is different. It marks the arrival of Levantine pastoralists associated ancestry into Northwest Africa, coincident with the spread of pastoralism. So they're attributing this Chalcolithic Levantine component, these, I don't know, this Pequin Israel components. They're basically saying it's coincidentally with the spread of pastoralism. I'm not saying that. That's what the ChatGPT is saying, because I know during the time of the Chalcolithic Israel, those people migrated into freaking North Africa, because that's how the T1A1A1 got into there. The Y-DNA haplogroup T1A1A1. That's how it got there. These people migrate. Later, late Neolithic groups blend Maghrebi plus European farmer plus Levantine components. So these people have been mixing before there was fucking Arabs. Exactly how music, TV, stand up, bro. You need to tell Brother Ankh that you belong to T1A1A. He needs to know his place. He's trying to claim that freaking SKH does not belong to T, and he does. But he didn't want to say, oh, but this DNA is somehow related to Neurite. Okay, but they have different Y chromosomes. So that's proof that they brought different admixtures. He don't know that, brother. You got to stand up and tell that man. You belong to T1A1A. You belong to that haplogroup. So tell him, like, hey, no, Brother Ankh, you wrong. This haplogroup T-PF7443 doesn't originate in freaking North Africa. It migrated from the Levant during the Chalcolithic. Yes, the Middle Neolithic is the it doesn't predate the Chalcolithic Levant. It's actually going backwards because I guess they were more advanced in the Levant. I don't know why they're considering the Middle Neolithic North Africa, Morocco, but it's considered Chalcolithic in Israel in the Pequin cave. Exactly, they were haplogroup G, but he doesn't understand the importance of haplogroups because he thinks that he has the understanding that haplogroups doesn't determine admixture or anything like that. But when it comes to these ancient DNA samples, it does. That's why archaeogenetics is important when it comes to the ancient DNA, because these Y DNAs, these mTNAs can show you the admixture they're bringing to the lands. Bottom line, calling Morocco SKH, Middle Neolithic, MN, not highly Levantine, is not supported. Drop it. So the SKH with the Y-DNA haplogroup of T-PF7443 is when you try to claim that it's not highly Levantine, ChatGPT says is not supported. Bam. Straight up. So the claim that SKH002, for those that really don't know much, and I can pull it up for y'all, to claim that it's not highly Levantine is incorrect. It is highly Levantine. By the published ancient DNA evidence by autosomal ancestry, SKH MN is predominantly Levantine related. Oh man, you see how proper use of ChatGPT works and not the misuse of ChatGPT, and you see how it's citing Lipson because that's a newer version of that 2023 Simons article, which I'm not blaming Adeline for not using because her PhD thesis started, I think it was back in 2022, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody in the chat can correct me. I don't got no problem putting in it as a pinned comment on the video. But her PhD thesis, which I have it was published in 2023, but I think it started back in like 2022 or something like that. Regardless of the situation, that's before Lipson 2025. So, and then her work with the whole genome sequence of the ancient Egyptian of Neurite basically was published after Lipson 2025, but I don't know where was the conflict of being able to make any additions. I think it was already published to Nature, and that's the reason why she can't make any changes to that work because it was already published. It takes a while for publications, so that was already pushed to Nature. Could they make a correction? Sure, but I mean that would be the whole paper. They would basically have to rewrite. Hey, there was a update to SKH, and it shows it's something. Is it Western Hunter Gatherer? Somebody in the chat, if you can tell me. I think it's Western Hunter Gatherer. But Lipson says something about Hunter Gatherer. There's another component. I think it came from Europe, if I'm not mistaken. It's part of the SKH Middle Neolithic, but there was a component. Yeah, he called me a fake North African when I never claimed. I've always claimed to be a Floridian. I can tell you both sides of my family, where my family came from. I don't need to claim to be a North African or any of that stuff. And it's bizarre to sit there and claim to make a claim as such. I don't know. It's bizarre. He called me a fake North African. Then he called me a fake geneticist when I never made any claims to be a geneticist or anything like that. I don't know where he gets stuff from. I don't know if it's like if he's trolling, because like he's like with a serious face and I can't even tell if he's trolling. So if he's trolling, he's doing a hell of a good job because he has me believe like he's fucking telling the truth. But he has to be trolling, you know, with all due respect. Like if he's not, he's just disingenuous like that and just a liar. I mean, I don't know, because I've never said anywhere on my channel how Music TV can say it, Yeshub can say it, Ngozi can say it, Fortune can say it, Brother Garfield can say it. I've never, not one time, claimed to be a geneticist or anything like that. And I've made mentions that I do this for fun. Like, this is actually my hobby. I love this stuff. Like, this is my interest. Some people like playing video games. I like ancient DNA. I like modern day population genetics. That's what I'm interested in. It's crazy. Combining it with the Bible is because people want to claim the Bible's this, the Bible's that. You know, people came from this location, people came from this location. They're chosen because they came from the Levant. That's nonsense. That's the reason why it's biblical DNA. But, you know, T1A1 A has a 11 related core. He couldn't expect it. I have rare connections to Egypt. Yeah, there is an ancient Egyptian. I think it's New Kingdom that belongs to T. Phoenicians, yep. Nubia. And the thing is with that, how music is that Nubia, there's gonna be more than likely T that was found in Nubia dating from, you know, that old, like during this time of what I'm talking about. Because those migrations, why would these people just go staying on the borders of North Africa and not go into the Nile, down the Nile? It's crazy because tea is also found in East Africa, right? Can you say when tea is found in East Africa without me looking it up? Anyways, calling Morocco SKHMN, quote, not highly Levantine, end quote, is not supported by the published ancient DNA evidence. By autosomal ancestry, SKHMN is predominantly Levantine related and representing a major demographic event in the Middle Neolithic Maghreb. All right. All right. And so for those not familiar with what how music is talking about in the chat, let me see. I can get this right. All right. That looks good. This is what I'm talking about. So SKH002, his Y DNA haplogroup was T1A1A1A1. His mtDNA haplogroup was J2A2D. So this mtDNA haplogroup, if I'm not mistaken, it's definitely found in West Asia. I could pull it up. And it's also found in Tunisia and Spain. All right, let me get something real quick. Let me see something real quick. Let me see something. All right, so it says 69 Spain, Canary Islands. And I think this is the one, so both YDNA T1A1 and this mtDNA was found amongst the Gunches of the Canary Islands, if I'm not mistaken. There you go. So yeah, it's a North African haplogroup for the most part, the mtDNA of this J2A. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Natufian also. Yes, so J-M 92 found in those, that's the Christian period, right? Of the Nubia. I don't know, to misclaim that somehow that these Y-DNA matches don't mean nothing, or they don't contribute to DNA autosomal or anything like that makes no sense. It just doesn't add up. Makes no sense at all. Let me see something real quick. I'm gonna keep talking. I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna bring something up real quick. T dash F T F. I'm gonna look up the globe tracker of of this haplogroup and see what it goes to, so we can get a full picture. All right, now we got the full screen. All right, let's go ahead and get this started. And see, people want to use this excuse that, well, we all come from Africa. Nobody's denying that, but that's not how freaking population genetics, and that's not how population genetics drift. That is not how that works. If you want to talk about genetics, talk about it the whole thing, like how archaeologists and anthropologists would use it, not just, I don't know what Ankh tries to use it. I don't know. But we see CT migrating out of the East Africa around, I think it was like 60,000 BCE, right? So it's making its way through Yemen, the southern Arabia Peninsula, going up to FGHIJF or JK IJ. Okay, you see LT. All right. All right, so the CT mutated around, what was that? 25, 26. So 26,000 BCE is where J or T mutated. Let me see where it's at. It looks like it's in Anatolia. So the southern border of Anatolia, in the corner of Azerbaijan, Iraq, in Turkey, right? So we see the mutations T1. I think it was J something. I didn't see which J that was, or T something. I didn't see the T though. So T-L454 mutated in Lebanon. That was 10,000 BCE. It mutated in, where is this located? Damascus. So this is 6,800 BCE. So that's T-CTS 931. All right. So it's making its way down into Africa. So let's see, Northeast Africa. We'll go ahead and let's see it. So, damn, that was so fast. So 6,000 BCE, 6,500 BCE is crossing over into Africa. So it's making its way into Northeast Africa around 6,500 BCE. Yo, it goes fast. Like, it just skips the whole of Egypt so quick. All right. So T-PF 7455. This mutation occurred 5,950 BCE. And I see that it's getting down to the one that we're looking for. So T-Y12643. That mutation is 5,750 BCE, T-FT 7904, 5,700 BCE, and finally T-PF 7443, 5,550 BCE. Yep. This is the migration of the Western Eurasian of T going into Libya, migrating, coming through like Algeria to Morocco. Look at that expansion. Tunisia. So that's 4,000 BCE in Tunisia. And you see, it really never left the Levant either. So this claim that like somehow it became the indigenous of North Africa, but it never really left the Levant. Now this mutation is in North Africa. And we see that it's spreading up into Europe. When was that? That was so around 3,500 BCE. It goes into Europe. And look at that. Going all the way up to England. And that's 2,500 BCE. I think that was it? So it looks like 11,000 BCE. There's expansion into Morocco, heading to the Iberian Peninsula. There we go. Bro, Astro, you shouldn't be claiming to be Egyptian and shit, bro. Nah, I know you've always like claimed the Canaanites and stuff. I've never seen you claim to be no Egyptians or anything like that. Which is funny because Lebanese they know they belong to the Canaanites. They never made any other claims outside of descending from the Canaanites. I think even my white DNA match knows that he descends from the Canaanites or something like that. He told me something like that. He said his lineage has been in Lebanon for a long time. You know what's funny is Ankh is the kind of dude who reminds me of that guy from YouTube with the African tectonic plates, and that since Israel sits on the African tectonic plates, the Israelites would have been Africans. Ankh is that type of guy. He definitely reminds me of that type of guy to make such a claim. Israel sits on the tectonic plates, so the Israelites was Africans. Give me a second, y'all. I'm having technical difficulties. It's for some reason family tree DNA is, I don't know if they got too much data on their globe, like on their discover, but it's just it runs so slow, like it just moves so slow, and if for some reason it always kicks me out, so I got to log back in. All right, let me get this. So this is Nurat. This is his paternal lineage. See how long his paternal lineage was in the Levant, right? Let's go ahead. Let's slow this down. So we see the mutation of DE from CTDE. Go ahead. Let's go ahead and see where that mutation, that was 60,000 BCE. We see the mutation of E. I think I'll click on E. Wait a minute. So they're saying it's 49,000 BCE. And the mutation of E-P177 is 48,000 BCE. So EP2 mutated 40,000 BCE. E-M215, 33,000 BCE. Now EN35. Let me see something real quick. Yep. So EN35, 23,000 BCE. That's found in Northeast Africa. E-Z827, 22,000 BCE. Right? So let's go ahead and keep going. So this is pre what we have of the Natufian culture in Israel Palestine. So that's pre this migration right now is before that. So it mutated in Anatolia around 18,000 BCE of E-CTS 10298. It's so interesting the way they're doing it, how it went all the way up to Anatolia, but it's right now it should be in the Levant, in Israel, Palestine region, Jordan region, with the Natufian culture. But hey, that's what it. I'm just saying, like, this is a complete. What if this paternal lineage is a completely different source population, meaning his ancestors had something more genetically closer to the Anatolia, like something in Anatolia before Natufian. So it just mutated. That's going to be 11,000 BCE. That's E-CTS 10880. See the mutation of E-PH 1818. When is that? At 6,550 BCE. The mutation E-Y 141483. The time is 5,750 BCE for time mutation. Let me see something. All right, so this is when it does this mutation that Nurat carries. So it comes all the way up to Samaria, to Iraq area. Watch this, y'all. This is the mutation that Nurat belongs to. Check this out. This is the mutation right here. Nurat. Look at that. This is mutation right here. Check this out, y'all. You see it? That's his mutation right here. Look where the mutation is located. In Iraq. Not in Northeast Africa. In Iraq. But according to Ankh, that's Africans. That's Africans in Iraq. Even though they've been all the way up to Anatolia, they done all these little migrations and all this stuff. They done the loop-de-looping pool with a SpongeBob tying the shoes. They did all of that stuff. But somehow, he's an African. But his mutation occurred in Iraq. And it's done all these mutations outside of Africa. Crazy. That's the mutation. That's a SNP for Nurat 001. So it was 4,500 BCE. During that time, the mutation, 4,300 BCE. Look at that. Look where it spreads down to. Yeah. So give me a sec. I gotta catch up with what y'all saying. So 3 migration 1, yeah, got that one. Yep, 4th limba, yep. And see, the thing is, with the T1B with the limbo, we don't know exactly when that occurred. But yeah, I 100% agree. That definitely could be old. And the JP58 and the J2, I think amongst the limbo could be old too. Limba has some Iranian ancestry, North Africa, North Iraq. The Tufians, yep, exactly. My Lebanese match, my Y-DNA match, he's Lebanese and proud too. Like, cause I seen his autosomal and I saw that he had a high percentage of Sephardic Jewish ancestry, but he hated that. He didn't like, nope, he don't got nothing to do with that. I'm like, all right, bet, no problem. I'm just interested in the debate. Modern Palestinians have more sub-Saharan African or sub-Saharan than the ancient Egyptian Canaanite. Yeah. Yeah, modern does. And what's crazy, the guy on Myro or whatever from I know he's using a pseudonym, he's using a fake profile and stuff like that. But he tried to claim that the Palestinian Christians are genetically closer to the ancient Samaritans than the Samaritans themselves. So the Palestinian Christians are genetically closer to the ancient Samaritans than the Samaritans that claim to be descendants of their ancient ancestors. I don't know, man. Yep, that's sure you're right. North Africans are a result of back migrations. Yes, exactly. And see, the thing is, people with the different migrations, look at all these migrations that occurred. You don't telling me these people were mixing with other populations and whatnot? That's crazy talk. Of course he was. This lineage, this paternal lineage was mixing with all types of people. Absolutely. And see, what's crazy is the majority of his lineage would have remained around Iraq and went down through Saudi Arabia. His lineage so far, because we don't know, we can get more ancient Egyptian samples, but he might be the only lone wolf. You know what I'm saying? Like he could be the only person with that snip in ancient Egypt. Everybody else can belong to T, could belong to E1B1B, 1A. You know what I'm saying? They could belong to the EV12, the EV22s, R1B, anything like that, right? And this specific snip that Neurat 001 carried could be only like his might be specific to him. Like he might be a small little family that he belonged to, and that's it. While majority of other people belong to different Y-DNAs. And so his admixture would be unique because his admixture, for example, would be the only one carrying this Mesopotamian Neolithic component. Or might be, I don't know, because ancient DNA, is so great and science is so great that we keep on getting ancient DNA samples. So we can say, hey, this ancient DNA sample is a better fit for the admixture for this individual. So he can be an admixture of Sumerian, of ancient pre-dynastic Egyptian, of this and that. You see what I'm saying? Of the Neolithic Badrea culture in Egypt. So you can have different components, and those might be a better fit than what it is now. Because if I'm not mistaken, I got it up right now. This is something similar to what they have right now for Neurat. This is what they have. There you go. This is what they have. This is something that I've seen myself too when I've gone over the calculations and whatnot. This is something that I also came up with. And it makes sense because when you think about it, if SKH was around 20% Tefralot, that means Neurat is going to be half of that. It's just like my father. My father is 30% Taino, so I'm 15% Taino. And if you see right here, it says poor distance. So this model is not a good model fit for Neurat. So there's ancient samples that would be a better fit for Neurat than these components. These are the best ones available, but there could be better fits than the ones we have right now. So that's what's so great about ancient DNA and population genetics and just genetics overall, because you can find ancient DNA samples that are better fit components for the individuals like this could have a better components, a better admixture. Let me see. Yeah, because he thinks E is automatically, he thinks it's Africa. Like, it makes no sense, bro. Did we not just see all the freaking mutations that occurred outside of Africa? And like I said, we don't know these populations that this individual's paternal lineage was mixing with. To claim that, oh, there was no populations in northern Levant, bull crap, because they're actually saying that J was in Syria like 11,000 BCE or something like that. That's according to family tree DNA. It's around, I think it's 11,000 BCE. I'll pull it up. Let me see something real quick. Got it. All right. And how music, I'll get to your that I have a group you were talking about. Just give me a second. I'm trying to prove something real quick. So J-P58 mutation 7,700 BCE. But look at these J's. Look how long they've been in Syria. So and what's ironic, if you notice, is very similar to where the location of Nurat's paternal ancestry went into. So that's different. That's different admixtures. These men carry different admixtures from different populations from their different source of populations where they originate from. That's different admixture components. So these people were intermingling. So of course, this isn't a good. This not gonna be. This gonna be a poor. This is gonna be a poor fit because it's not. It's not the best because there's ancient populations according to what we're looking at. And you see the jade that was in Northeast Africa, 10,000 BCE. J-L136. That's what they're claiming, that this individual's paternal lineage migrated into freaking North Africa 10,000 BCE. And it looks like he went down the Nile. Look at that. Look at this. Settling along the Nile. Look at that. Let me see something. I want to see when they're claiming his paternal. Let me see something real quick. 10,000 BCE. It doesn't show. Okay, there we go. I want to see this. So that's 1900 BCE. When is that? 2500 BCE. Isn't that, yo, help me out. Isn't that the time of pre-dynastic Egypt? So around 3100 BC, so 5000, okay. So around 5500 to 3100 BCE. So let's see it. So that's 4500. So that's 5500, right? Let's see something real quick. There we go. So around 5000 BCE, what is that that's coming through here? Is that JP58 that's doing that? I think so. Yeah, that's definitely that's JP58 that's doing that. So that's 4500 BCE. So this is pre-dynastic coming into Egypt. Look at that. I think the Old Kingdom starts that time. Around 2686 BCE, give or take. All right. Let me get into how music's Y DNA real quick. T-BY 818-1210. Yo. All right, this is for How Music. I'm assuming my microphone works really well because nobody complained about it. I didn't even care. I tried to go live before, and some reason my volume was not working. Like my microphone was not working. All right, this is for How Music. Let me slow it down. It be going too damn fast. $2,000. All right, so 14,000 BCE, 12,000 BCE, 10,000 BCE, 95. What? Yeah. 8,000 BCE, 7,000 BCE. Okay, so we see a mutation occur. So that's T-L208. That's not the one I wanted. Where is the other one? There we go. Why does he keep doing that, yo? There we go. So T-L208 mutated time 7,150 BCE. Look at that. And it just proves what I'm saying. Like these people come in with different paternal lineages, and what are the odds that it's very similar going up into Anatolia in this area that Neurat's paternal lineage did. Very interesting. Look at that. Coming down from Syria to Iraq, 4,000 BCE. All right, going down to Saudi Arabia, 2,500 BCE. I think this one goes to Africa. It goes to East Africa. 2,000 BC, Saudi Arabia. Okay. Oh, we landed in East Africa in the Horn. So that's 8,000 BCE. It landed in the Horn of East Africa. At least they should have stood over here on this marshy lands. That's good land right there. So the mutation T-BY181210 mutated 7,000 or 750 BCE. I know the Sabians, that's good land right there though. Anybody that knows anything about farming and stuff like that or growing stuff, that's good land. All right. Just finish it out. So it's showing going back into Yemen. Then someone going to Somaliland. All right. That's what's up. That's for How Music. Cool. Let me see something real quick. Ay, ay. What else do I want to show? I got some things. So I give y'all feedback about me, what's going on right now, right? So I graduate this semester. I'm only in one class, my final class. I'm doing my project. It's a bioinformatics data science project. It's going fairly well. In fact, I'm like very ahead. So I can just chill. And I actually worked on it yesterday to get my results for the fifth for week 5. And I think we have to do a presentation. We just did a presentation, which was odd because we did our initial presentation in week 4, but I've been working on my project since week 0. So that just shows you, I don't know. It College is very, it's this degree program is very strange. Um but I'm making the best of it. I've been trying to find jobs. It's very, very difficult. Um, Very difficult because most people have they have so many years behind them, and getting an internship is very difficult, especially at my age. Like, it's like, wait a minute, there's some 18, 19-year olds, getting internships, 21-year olds getting their bachelor's degree and already having work experience with internship. But for me, it's going to be very difficult since I've changed my job in the past and whatnot. But I want to get into something. I'm trying to pull it up, so I'm gonna continue talking. I think it's page 192. It's a few things I want to bring up. I'm gonna probably do my Canaanite, the brothers of Tel Megiddo with the Caucasus DNA. I want to do a video on that one because it's just interesting that I think this is like the third, second, I think third paper, article, and this is in a book on the topic. And it's just very interesting that they're putting so much like stock into it, like so much um release, like they're just putting so much um focus on it. It's like they're trying to figure out when exactly did that Caucasus component in the Bronze Age Levant occurred. I think that's the best way to put it. Come on. So this, I'm trying to pull up the Ancient Near Eastern History and Culture 4th edition up, and if anybody has the digital copy, it is a mess to open. For some reason, it's so slow. It runs so slow. New video with Ngozi. Okay, I'll check it out. Mm, I haven't heard about the new video with Ngozi. Did he just go live? Street Sufi. 3 hours ago. Pseudo's edition. That's what's up. I gotta get into. I gotta watch it. I'll watch it. Um, I want to touch on this one real quick before I end this video, and then, like I said, I'm gonna touch up. I should have been done a video on the Tel Megiddo, Middle Late Bronze Age, brothers. It's actually some Egyptian information in that book also that I want to share. Is very important on this topic when it comes to the ancient Egyptian and the Levant trades in the Old Kingdom. This one's not appearing to load. It's like it wants to load, but it doesn't want to load. Let me see something real quick. Let me zoom out. Let me see something real quick. All right. All right. So like I said, this is the Ancient Near Eastern History and Culture 4th edition. This is on page 163, chapter Egypt to the End of the Old Kingdom. And I have some interesting stuff highlighted. This is other DNA analyses of selected mummies from the New Kingdom, most famously that of Tutankhamun, have identified haplogroups, an inherited group of mutation generally associated with the Near East and Europe. Hawass et al. 2010, while the oldest mummy sequence from the 12th dynasty had a maternal haplogroup most common in Northwest Africa, Gat et al. 2021. However, a different group of researchers used the same DNA data to argue for significant sub-Saharan DNA in the same royal New Kingdom mummies, Gardin et al. 2018. Now, I want to say something about Gardin et al. And Keta, right? So if you've taken the time to go on my channel, you've watched the Keta video of the email exposing and refuting the lie that he cited communications with Yahya Zgad regarding finding E1B1A and other ancient Egyptian mummies and sub-Saharan African DNA and so forth. Why is it somebody like me that's an amateur doing this stuff, like that does this for a hobby, is calling the bull crap out on somebody who has a PhD as a biological anthropologist? Why am I calling him out on the lies that he spread about communication with Yahya Gad? I mean, it was a simple email that I did with Yahya Gad and exposed what he said, but Gordon's also a part of that. And what it's talking about is that they took the autosomal microsatellites for the disease that was used for the mummies, and they used those microsatellites, the autosomal microsatellites, for the populator, the now outdated populator that you only can access if you use the Wayback Machine. And the thing is, that calculator, that populator, was not meant for ancient DNA. It was meant for modern day populations, genetic profiling. But, you know, Gordon and Keta was part of it also, try to show that, oh, these haplogroups amongst the royal mummies of Tutankhamun and all of them, that's not, European. It shows that they have sub-Saharan African. That's garbage, bro. And once the Genome Project is published of the ancient DNA, the royal mummies, which I am actually expecting it to occur this year. It's going to occur either this year or early in 2027. Why do I say that? Because when I go back to the Genome Project, it mentions the time span of how long it's going to take for it to be concluded, like how long it's going to take. And it's roughly around 2026, 2027, because they've been working on it since 2022. So just be on the lookout. It should come out this year or 2027. And me, I'm so interested because that goes into the late Bronze Age collapse, the Sea Peoples. That's my favorite subject. Then it goes into the other mummies of the New Kingdom. So I'm looking forward to that. But let's finish this off. It says, thus, there is no consensus when discussing the genetic makeup of ancient Egyptians and their geographic origins. Still, in 2026, we can say that this one ancient Egyptian mummy is just proof of Levantine components coming into the Levant with migration. That's just one ancient DNA from ancient Egypt. One ancient DNA sample. We need more than one ancient DNA sample to determine who the ancient Egyptians were. What was the genetic makeup of the ancient Egyptians? It's gonna need more than one sample. And to be honest, it would be great if there's a Neolithic Bahadran culture sample. A Neolithic Bahadrin culture sample would be perfect for ancient Egypt. That's the sample they're missing. And again, it can't just be one sample. It would have to be multiple samples. Just like how they did for the SKH, the Morocco Middle Neolithic with the 3 samples. It'll be perfect. The same thing for Egypt, for ancient Egypt. It'll be awesome. All right. So was Egypt black? Most of the people asking this question today are Africans and African Americans who would like to claim early Egypt's accomplishments for themselves and other members of their own race. However, this question assumes 2 premises that are patently false. The first is that there exists or there once existed biologically distinct and pure races whose characteristics can be easily defined. Second, the questioners generally believe that there is a link between what they regard as race and cultural achievement. Science has shown that both premises are incorrect. Winky, 1999, pages 600 or 469 to 470. Smith, 2001A, pages 2728, 2001B. All right, let's go down to the highlighted. In Egypt today, skin color gradually changes from predominantly tan or olive in the delta to an almost blue-black near the Nile's sources, right? In the south, other physical features vary along the same quantum. Therefore, some ancient Egyptians look more Middle Eastern and others look more like the Sudanese or Ethiopians of today. And some may even have looked like other groups in Africa. Skin color, hair texture, nose size, and other physical characteristics often employed in determining race could vary significantly. Therefore, it should not be surprising that we can pick out what have been called Negroid traits in the statue of Khufri or in images of Queen Tiye. Sub-Saharan black ancestry was always an element of Egypt's genetic history. That does not mean that Egyptians were black in the way that African Americans identify themselves today. It also doesn't mean that Egyptians were white. Black-white distinction is a construct of European racism and was largely irrelevant to ancient Egyptians. So none of that bullshit beige mulattoes from guard energy either. That's completely garbage. The mulatto crap. That's garbage, bro. That's something here in the United States. And that's a Spanish word. It comes from the Spanish came up with something similar with mestizo. So I don't want to hear that crap with the mulattoes and the no, they had nothing to do with that. The best weekends, of course, there was different admixtures, but not none of that mulatto crap. That's pseudo. The best we can say is that Egypt was a unique civilization with genetic and cultural ties linking it to other African cultures to its south and west and to Mediterranean and Near Eastern cultures to its north. There you go, folks. And first of all, when you're talking about those ancient migration patterns of those Neolithic Levantines going in and out of Africa, Northeast Africa, going all the way down to Nubia, then going from the Arabian Peninsula into the Horn of Africa. Come on, y'all. It's crazy how we're gonna pretend that these people were like they weren't mixed. They were highly mixed. The only question is what exactly were they mixed with? We know that Nurat 001 didn't have any affiliation with sub-Saharan Africans or East Africans. That's what we do know. So what about the other Egyptians? That's what we want to know. And that's what I believe that we can get some fairly idea, which we already have with the Suleiman 2017. We already have an idea that there was an increase of sub-Saharan African admixture post-Roman periods, which it was the Romans that were bringing up slaves from the sub-Saharan African countries, or lands. But the thing is, we don't have a real, like, I don't know how to say this, pre-dynastic samples of them showing that they were sub-Saharan Africans, and then somehow it magically disappeared from Old Kingdom to New Kingdom. That's what we need. So we do have pre-dynastic samples, but there's been talks about that. I can bring it up. The one sample that I remember from the Y tree, where the individual belonged to R1B. If you give me a second, I can bring that up. Got to remember when's the last time I looked at that one, but let me see something real quick. Come on. There we go. Bam. All right. So this is a pre-dynastic sample. This is from the data source genetic predisposition of atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease in ancient human remains, right? So this individual belonged to Y-DNA R-L20, and it shows you where that subplate comes down from R-M269. It shows you where he belongs to under that. And this is from the Nakata one, native to Gabilan. Now, there's been talks that this sample, those ancient pre-dynastic samples of Egypt, were contaminated. That's a wait and see. I don't know. There was some pushback on X from the MENA population, specifically an Egyptian. Let me pull up his name real quick on X. I gotta close some of these sources out. I follow homie. Yeah, I swear I do follow him. There we go. Bam. All right, so he was one of the main ones to push back in saying yes, that the pre-diagnostic sample did belong to R1B, and it's not contamination. So Mohammed Abdel Hadi, he has a YouTube channel also you can find. He does videos. It's in Arabic though, so can't understand Arabic. I asked him to do the translations. I think he did. So yeah, you can look up his YouTube channel up. You're just gonna have to read the captions. That's what's up. I'll make sure to look at it. I appreciate everybody that came to the chat, and stuff. That's what's up. If you could please give me a like, all this content that I shared to refute basic error using fucking ChatGPT, man. It's crazy. They didn't want to call me out. Like, what? Bro, you don't want to make yourself look like a fool. Anyways, then try to tell me that this man don't be sitting here arguing with people on freaking X. Like, yes, he does. Like, some people be coming at him sideways, and he be trying to tell him, nah, that's not how it works. That's not how the admixture works. He does he is on X doing that. To claim that he doesn't, that's a lie. Let me see if one of them did. He called somebody out not too long ago. The evolution of the buttocks. Verdict. Deardort praised the couch, but he should have praised the engine. We didn't get buttocks to sit down. We got them to speed up. So he's responding to this individual, to David Rowe. But there's a comment that he wrote to somebody. Trying to remember who it was to. That's crazy, man. But it's so funny. Like, I don't know who this individual was talking to, the Athenian stranger. If he's talking to Iseph Lazarus, I'm not too sure. But that's very funny. These people are stupid and cowards. And it's so funny. And he cites the quote. Oh man. Oh man. But it's so funny. Ankh said I made shit up that he doesn't call people out. See? There it goes. He called his in, and this is a PhD. He has a PhD in genetics. Isis Lazardus. He majority of the papers that I cite is he's usually part of it. In fact, there's one before I end this live stream. I want to pull up the one from 2022 real quick. I want to pull up the skin color, and I'm gonna pull up again when I do the Tel Megiddo samples. The genetic history of the Southern Arc, it bridged between West Asia and Europe, right? Actually, there's another one I want to bring up. I got to bring up something else too. Because the only person that I've heard so far that has any lick of sense is Gullah. He's the only one that has any lick of sense at all. The only one to have any lick of sense out of them. I don't know if he's part of that conscious community stuff though, but if he is, he's the only one that I've heard so far that has any lick of sense, right? So these are the two Tel Megiddo brothers that I'm gonna be doing a video on. So we got let me zoom in I know it's gonna be very, very small. So we got I-10770 and we have I-10769, right? If I'm not mistaken, it says brother on one of them. Let me see, maybe, there it goes. You see it says brother I-10770, right? And we're gonna look at the admixture real quick. And like I said, I'm gonna read the art. I could pull it up too. I got no problem doing that before, but it's not gonna be in this video because this video is very long. I actually just planned. All of this is just, I'm just doing this off the script. Like I'm just doing this, I just planned to show the ChatGPT and the Gemini. So this is just off the back of my hand. I'm just doing it for fun. All right, so we see the Caucasus hunter-gatherer is around 45%. Levant pre-modern Neolithic is around 37%. And Turkey, which is Anatolian farmer, Barsan Neolithic is around 17%, right? Let me get it. For this one, you see it's roughly about the same thing. Caucasus hunter-gatherer, 43%. Levant pre-modern Neolithic, 40%. And Turkey, Barsan Neolithic, 16%, right? So I want to go over to the skin pigmentation. Since these people are so focused on the skin pigmentation, so all of that Caucasus hunter-gatherer components, and we see where he's predicted in skin pigmentation, right? So skin pigmentation is considered dark to black. Let's see about his brother. His brother, I-10770, is considered is predicted to be dark. This is basic stuff that I wanted to show to Ankh back in back in July, right? But you know, they couldn't listen. I don't know if they have short attention spans and they just were, I don't know, they were all over the place. Even though my name, my YouTube um name, Biblical DNA, right? My YouTube channel was literally in the description. But you can see his brother, it has the prediction for skin pigmentation dark. But you also see the J markers, right? Skin pigmentation prediction dark to black, dark to black, dark to black. There was an article back in December 2025. I thought about going over it. I might give some more details on it. I'm not too sure. Let me see something real quick. Let me see if I can share it. Image is this one right here. There we go. I give you the article. I could put it in the description. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna use it for my Tel Megiddo for the Megiddo brothers of the Middle Neolithic B. I'm gonna use this again, like to show the different predictions for skin pigmentations and whatnot. But you see, Cheddar Man being dark black, right? That's the predictions. We see the different little skin tones and whatnot they have. Specifically, it's very difficult when you're dealing with ancient DNA with limited samples when it comes to predictions for populations. Is very difficult. So for Egypt, for example, having one sample of the old kingdom and those 3 samples of the new kingdom, that's not very good samples to have when it comes to skin pigmentation predictions. It's not good. It's not a good enough sample sources. Megiddo 45:18 was a man. Yeah. Yep. Let me see. Did you want to see what his skin pigmentation was? How music? I can show you that one real quick. Let me see if I get it up still. Let me switch to that real quick for him. Why is it not coming up? That's weird. There we go. You said 45:18. Yeah, but you don't got the skin yeah, you don't have the skin pigmentation prediction. You only have the eye color brown, hair color black, hair color dark, skin pigmentation NA. So that could be because there's not enough SNPs to cover that, to find out a good prediction for that. So that's more than likely what it is that the SNPs, and see, people don't understand when it comes to the SNPs. When you take that BAM files that you get from, let me see the website. I never remember the name of it. It's called European something. You can get the samples from ncbi.nlm.nih.gov. Most bioinformatics, a lot of my sources is coming from that, like the data sets and whatnot. European, trying to remember the European one. I usually have it saved so I can always reference it. So ebi.ac.uk, NA, so European Nucleotide Archive. So this one, when you get those BAM files for like Neurorat, and you create the pipelines to be able to generate the files that you need to get the SNPs, it's important to get the biggest percentage of SNPs, like 200,000 versus only like 50,000 just to do the Y-DNA and the mtDNA. And the reason being is because if you get a higher percentage of SNPs, you can be able to predict skin color, hair color, all that good stuff. You can eye color and whatnot. You can get the Y-DNA, the SNP, the down subclade SNP. You can get the mtDNA, You can do the admixture for using the for to use on QP atom. You can do all that stuff. So when you're using limited SNPs, you can't do all that. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, those brothers were considered elite, and like I said, I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna pull it up right now. This is a book. I forgot the price of it, to be honest. I think it's close to $150. I didn't pay for it. I got it. That's all I'm gonna say. I didn't pay for it though. But I'm gonna give you a quick look at it. Real quick. Let me see something real quick. For some reason, it's not loading up. All right. Might have to actually end this video. There we go. It finally loaded up. All right. Here we go. So this is it. Megiddo 7, the Chamonix excavations of a monumental Middle Bronze tomb and its environs. Editors Matthew J. Adams, Melissa S. Craddock, and Israel Finkelstein. Like I said, I'm not doing this video today, so don't get your hopes up. It's all good. But let me go ahead and let me go down to where I want to go to. I think it's somewhere around the second page. There we go. So it's page 235. Right? So you see what I'm talking about the SNPs, the overlapping 1,233,013 single nucleotide polymorphisms, SNPs, of which 1,150,639 are autosomal. So these individuals require more SNPs in order to do the autosomal, right? The remaining are from the X and the Y chromosome. So I think for Neurorat, I was able to only use 50,000 or something like that to get his Y DNA and his mtDNA. And I did. I predicted it correct. I got the correct information output in my terminal, so the command line. So I got the right right Y DNA and the mtDNA. But yeah, this is it. There is stuff about Egypt in this too that I found very important. I could touch up on that real quick. Let me see something. I got stuff highlighted in here. I think it's Old Kingdom. Mm-hmm. Oh man. Well, come on now. Thought I had stuff highlighted in this one. Maybe not. Oh well. It might be in that Near Eastern book, which I'm not going through that book again. I'm gonna let that. I'm not gonna do that. Thought I had something in this one real quick. Let me see. Egypt. It's talking about the trade. The time of Megiddo was an urban center embedded within extensive long distance trade networks that linked the Levant with Egypt, Anatolia, Mesopotamia, and beyond. I have more. I gotta figure out where they're at. I have more than this though. I don't know where. I hope I saved it. Spices. Although Egypt was divided between different ruling dynasties at the time discussed here. An African trade system should also be considered. Egypt held long-standing connections with the land of Punt, located in East Africa, which served as a source of gold and many exotic items such as aromatic resins. Like I think frankincense and myrrh, if I'm not mistaken, is like a resin. I think myrrh is right. I think both of them are. Frankincense and myrrh are both resins. Blackwood, ebony, um, ivory, and wild animals. Trying to figure out. You know what? I think it might be Fourth Dynasty or something like that. Yo, I think it's Fourth Dynasty. Come on, roll that dice. No, man, I gotta figure it out. Let me see. I know it's somewhere in here. Man, I might have to wait until when I go over the Canaanite brothers, the Megiddo brothers. Might have to. There we go. Now I'm getting into something. All right, y'all ready for this one? All right, let's go ahead and read this one. This is found on page 409, conclusions, chapter 24. Mm-hmm. Let me go ahead and zoom in on this one. There we go. Get my throat nice and right. All right. It says the two-sided box contain game boards for playing 20 squares on one side of Senate on the other side. The former derives from the gaming culture of Mesopotamia, reaching the Levant in the second millennium, while the latter has a rich and deep history in Egypt, originating as early as the fourth millennium BCE, with early Levantine examples dating to the third millennium BCE. The combination of these two games into a single double-sided box fits a standardized Levantine Middle Bronze Age repertoire. Although the box features Egyptian motifs such as a digid, pillars, and a sphinx, its use of such iconography is distinctly Levantine. Yes, sir. Just shows you the Levantine influence, even going into the Middle Bronze Age into Egypt. These symbols, which are also attested at Ugarit and Hazar, occur alongside classic Levantine lion ungulate hunt scenes with parallels from Middle Bronze Age Megiddo and elsewhere. Moreover, boxes like this were likely manufactured locally and perhaps even exported throughout the Eastern Mediterranean, demonstrating their influence and prestige within and beyond elite Levantine culture. These items, like other finds in tomb 16/H/50, benefit the barrel of royalty. Yeah, I think it has something in about that in here. I think I read something about that in here. I haven't read this whole thing. You see how many pages it has? It's 412 pages. See, I didn't even highlight this last time I went through this. This is a good page. I gotta come back to this one. Let me go ahead and I have to come back and read this whole chapter. That's why I said I think this article, yeah, this book is gonna take me a minute like to go through what I want to go through and just make a video. I haven't decided how I want to do it. Like it's so long, this book. All right. Let me see if I can find the other stuff in this book I wanted to show real quick. It was about Egypt. Something about trade and like timber and whatnot. Something about trees. It might be another source that I have. Mm, might be having to call it a wrap. Finally done. For some reason, why am I highlighting this one? I'm highlighting it for a reason. Forgot why. Yes. Why did I highlight that for? Man. Human ancient DNA evidence also suggests long-standing pre-Holocene connections between the Levant and North Africa. Van de los Flores et al. 2018. I remember that one. I don't know why. I thought I highlighted the first time I went through this. I don't know why it wasn't highlighted for. I might have not saved. Sometimes, when you just close your computer, turn the power off, and you forget to save stuff, and it doesn't save. I think that's what happened. The games. Anyways, I'll go through it again and find the Egypt stuff, and then put it with the Megiddo brothers. Um, Before I close off, just would like to say thank you to everybody that watched the video all the way through. It means a lot to me for you to pay attention to learn a lot of stuff, because I covered a lot of information. Um, Most important was this one, refuting Ankh and its misuse of um, ChatGPT. I mean, as the title of the video shows, it just proves that if you know how to use these AIs, you can correct AI. You can make a correction to AI. You just got to know what you're talking about. You can make a correction. You just got to know how to do it. See, Ankh didn't know how to make any corrections. Ankh just, he expects his audience to not really know much, haven't gone through college, they're not really sure about this information when it comes to genetics. They just expect him to be telling them the truth. And the guy is just lying to his audience, man. He's blatantly lying to his audience. And so I'm glad that I was able to cover this. If he wants to do a video, and I hope he does, I hope he embarrasses himself. I see a comment that somebody said I need to stop. You know what? I agree. I could call him Copeland West. I got no problem doing that. I got no problem whatsoever calling him Copeland West. Not to call him Ankh. I don't care either way. People call me biblical DNA. I've asked people they call me Dan. You know what I'm saying? But people still call me biblical DNA. So it is what it is. I'm not gonna be upset for people calling me that. Taurus 6077, are you going to make a video response to this? Bruh. Oh man. I don't know. I guess he didn't get my live notifications, man. I've been live. I don't know what's going on. Yo, I've been live. I pretty much did all of it. I did more than I had to. You know what I'm saying? I did way more than I had to. We went over the admixtures and everything, man. I don't know where this guy was at. Look at this. I went through all the admixtures. I don't gotta hide anything. Look at this. This is Neurat 001. I'm just saying. And I can do this myself too. And I've actually used a sample from Duzuzuna, and basically I saw in the distance that it distanced closer, I think, than Aberrant Marusian or something like that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna leave the video off with that. Give me a second. Give me a real quick second. I'm gonna leave the video off with that, with the calculator. I wish I did it yesterday or did it before I made this video. I didn't expect to do this though. This is all from scratch. I'm doing this all from the hip. Got to put these together real quick, but just hold tight. I got this. I'm gonna do it real quick. Calculators. Okay. Neurat. Give me a second. I can pull up Neurat real quick. Oh man. Give me a second, y'all. This is Sana. I found a sample the other day. Come on. Just hold tight. I'm gonna be right back. I'm trying to get the Duzuzana sample from Georgia. It would be nice that if I could remember his sample ID of the sample that I used, but I don't remember it off the top of my head. It is gonna be, or to her. It's sample is I-2963. 29 60 49. My bad. My apologies. I misspoke. So it's I-2949. Eastern. All right. Let me see something real quick. I think I'm good to share now. All right. So this is the Eastern Mediterranean Neolithic calculator found on Explorer DNA. So this is the sample that I'm talking about. It's Duzuzana. It's the sample ID is I-2949. The MTD in the haplogroup is U6. So when people talk about the Iberomaurusians and they have components tracing back to the Duzuzana, this is what it's talking about. The other two samples, other sample belongs to N. There you go. And that's sample I-2963, right? So in this calculator, right, I combined Neolithic North Africa. Oh, you are not gonna mess up. No, you're not. I combined North Africa Neolithic with East Mediterranean Neolithic, right? You can see all the components that's in here. You got this is the Duzuzana. Let me go ahead and add that real quick. Let's make sure this is working. Uh-oh. All right. All right. So we had Duzuzana, Sub-Saharan African, Morocco, Neolithic, Hunter, Ibero-Mauritian, early European farmer-like, Levant-like, Moroccan, Middle Neolithic, Levant, like the Levant, SKH 02 steppe, Western hunter gatherer, Caucasus hunter gatherer, around hunter Mesopotamian. These are the Mesopotamian Neolithic samples that they use, including the Iraq sample, which I don't see. There's also a Iraq sample for the Mesopotamian Neolithic. Oh, there it goes, Nimrod. I'm blind. Let's go ahead and run it. And then you have the Armenian Neolithic, Levant, pre-Parthian Neolithic B, Iran Neolithic. Let's go ahead and run this. And we see we have the Nurat sample. Listen, look at this. Check this out, y'all. So this is the distance for Nurat. And we see that he clusters with this Levantine-like SKH002, right? You see the Levant pre-Parthian Neolithic B, you see the Mesopotamian Neolithic, right? So those is what's basically used in the study. These are it. These are the ones that they use. Let me see why it highlights the whole thing. That's up. All right, guess I can't highlight it. But you can see going down to Mesopotamian Neolithic Turkey, as in Mardin, I-8432, right? You can see that's the ones that they really use in the study, because Morocco, Middle Neolithic, and Middle Neolithic, and it's basically Levantine-like, right? It's highly Levantine-like, as I proved, right? I want y'all to notice something. You see Morocco, Neolithic, like early European farmer, right? Remember, I used Ibero-Marusian. Look at this. Duzuzana, I-2949. But you don't see Ibero-Marusian nowhere on this. Look at that. Look at that right there. Matter of fact, I'm going to take a snip of this and put it on my community. I want to see if anybody explains to me why you don't see Ibero-Marusian. And you can clearly see I have Ibero-Marusian on here. I mean, it could be another sample that's better fit, sure. But no, I think that's pretty legit. Check that out, y'all. So we know the admixture of Morocco, Middle Neolithic, like Levant. Levant Neolithic, Mesopotamian Neolithic. Very similar to that, right? I want to take that one off real quick. This one. There you go. Look at that. Look at the component of the Ibero-Marusian, around 12%. That's exactly what I told y'all. I say it's going to be around half of what SKH002 carried. There you go. Spot on. And let's see about the distance. Let's see if it makes it any, if it's still, see, it's still not there. Where is the Ibero-Marusian? Am I tripping? Like, am I missing things? Let's take off early European farmer off there. Let's see something. Let's take that one off. I still don't see it, but I see Duzuzana though. Let's see. Let's reduce it to 3 populations. Look at that, y'all. Levant Neolithic, 60%. Mesopotamian Neolithic, 21.8%. Morocco Neolithic, or yeah, Ibero-Marusian, Hunter Ibero-Marusian, 18%. Oh man. Crazy, 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 crazy. Very interesting. Anyways, I'm gonna leave it like that. I think I'm gonna post this on my community. Yeah, I'm gonna post one of these on my community. Let me see which one. This one I'm gonna post on my community. I'm gonna post this one. All right, I'm gonna leave it like that. I'm out, y'all. It's been Biblical DNA. I'm gone.